some discussion.
Just, talk about the headlines.
What's going on?
What impacts the world, impacts the community. The time to know is now.
It's time for Edgewise. This is the show where we discuss the things going on in the community, state, and world, and let you get your opinion in edgewise. Any views or opinions expressed by the guests, phone callers, and hosts of the show are strictly the views and opinions of the guests, phone callers, and hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of WMMG, its sponsors, or employees.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is that time once again. It is Thursday, the 5th. I had to look at the calendar on the computer.
Any, mini, many, mo.
Of September 2024. It is another day that the Lord has made. Here we are. I'm Alex Chad Hobbs in the studio.
Hey.
And we're here for another edition, whether you like it or not, of Edgewise, where we talk about anything and everything going on in the community, state, and world. Sometimes we just talk about whatever pops into our crazy, strange, peculiar brains, and we give you, of course, the opportunity to weigh in as well. You can call us today at 422-3961 or 3962. Also, we're streaming live on Facebook. Feel free to drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from this morning and weigh in on anything that we happen to get into today. More than welcome to do that in the comment section of the Facebook thingy. Of course, want to remind folks, too, archive. We've got archive of the show on the website now. I want people to know about that, WMMG935.com. You can go and check that out. And
where Alex is having great fun making thumbnails for the videos.
Well, look, you had to bring that up. All right. Well, look, okay, I have admittedly been enjoying this. So, for those who if peruse the internet in times past, you'll know that YouTube videos, typically in articles and things like that, will have a catchy thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
To draw people's attention in. And I have admittedly been having fun making our thumbnails because we're posting the shows up on our website in a post every day. Yeah. And so I've admittedly been having a lot of fun with Photoshop and other various computer programs making these thumbnails every day for the show.
Yeah, too much fun.
They're
and it may be someone may be altered the most.
Well, there may or may not be a video or a thumbnail of a video now up on our website from yesterday's show of you wearing a colonial-style hat in front of the Boston Tea Party with a no taxation caption.
Time traveler.
It fits the show yesterday.
Oh, it does.
I mean, it fits.
It does, but you're just having a little too much fun with this. I've been the symbol of toxic masculinity with my cup and American flag. Else? I had a hot dog in my hand and something else.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I had the pie. I had the whatever, the coconut cream pie that we were talking about on the show that day. And you know what's funny is, like, on some of the more serious topics, people will probably look at some of these thumbnails and think, I was kind of a little bit conflicted on yesterday's. I'm like, do I post this or do I not? With the thumbnail that I made, because I made a funny thumbnail. We were talking about the taxes in Brandenburg, and the proposed tax on people's income, and I was like, do I post this because it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, funny little thumbnail? You were talking about no taxation throughout the show, referencing, our founding. We talked a lot about that, talked about our founding, and you had written the opinion piece on our website early on, no taxation without representation. So I thought, well, it'd be funny, kind of catch people's attention to
put Chad back in revolutionary times.
To put Chad back in the revolutionary times with the colonial hat at the Tea Party. But honestly, I was like, because this is a serious, it's a very serious topic that we're talking about, and it affects a lot of people, and you and I, have, I think, probably about the same opinion on it, that we're not in favor of it. And I'm like, do we post that with the thumbnail like that, though? Because people will be like, oh, you're not taking this seriously, without even watching the whole show. They'll be like, oh, you're not taking it seriously. It's, whatever. So I don't know. But I did it. So,
Yes.
I chose to do it.
Chad leading the Tea Party of 2024. It'll be in history books everywhere.
That one will go down in the history books.
The second coming of revolution against taxation without representation.
At the end of the day, I'm okay with a little bit of sensationalism on the graphics and the logos just to draw people in.
Well, but I mean, if you look at it, it basically sums up your straight show.
I mean, it does.
I mean, with one glance, if you're going to put it. Good job. Yeah, but I was just laughing because I remember in my former employment, when I was newsprint, I'd written a story, an opinion piece, editorial about an issue with the baseball team because they had a rule no hair over the ears, and one of them had a mullet, and there was this big uproar, and so I wrote a thing like, if you're going to be a part of the team, you got to be a part of the team rules. It's special. Right. It's not you. If you want to be you, go be you. But if you're going to be a part of the team, you got to do the team thing.
Sure.
Well, oddly enough, when we went to print that week, another person with graphic design background had taken the guy from Eastbound and Down, it's like a comedy about a minor league pitcher, and he had like this really tight permed mullet, the character did, and wore like the Oakley glasses that I always wear. Well, when it went to print, the picture to go with that editorial was me with that mullet perfectly placed on my head and done so well that like classmates and stuff were like, I don't remember you having a perm mullet. And I'm like, I never had a perm mullet.
So people have been photoshopping you for some time now. I'm not the first to do
No,
this.
It seems like my opinion has always got
Provoked.
editorialized photos to go with it.
Yeah. Well, you just have that effect on people. Oh, it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. If there's anything on your mind today, give us a call, 422-3961-3962. Maybe you want to weigh in on, but didn't have a chance to weigh in on what we talked about yesterday on the tax and stuff like that. You got something to say on that? You want to weigh in on something else, bring something else up to the table, whatever. You're more than welcome to do that. Plenty we could talk about. I mean, I almost don't want to get into the big story today, national news-wise. I mean, I almost don't even want to get into it, but I mean, I feel like we almost, have an obligation to. But
school shooting down in Georgia, what was it? Allegheny High.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of details about it, to be honest with you, because I was at work yesterday all day and then went straight over from work. On Wednesdays, I have a pretty busy day. I go straight over from work to church, and we do like our music practice and rehearsal, and then we've got our Wednesday evening service. And so I'm usually pretty busy and sometimes don't even have time to look at news and this and that and what's going on. And so I hadn't heard anything about it until we were opening up our service yesterday evening in church, and somebody actually brought, we always take like prayer requests and things before service starts. And somebody mentioned that, you pray for the, the people involved and so on and so forth. And that was my first hearing of it. So I don't know, other than just a little bits and pieces of what I've heard, between yesterday evening and this morning. I don't know a tremendous amount of details about it. I know the shooter was 14. 14,
yeah. And it's like, oh, what could be going through a 14-year-old's head that get you there? But that's a tragedy in itself. And then shot and killed two other 14-year-olds and two math teachers. One of them was the assistant football coach too, and I think there were like 9 injured. But the thing that happened that you never hear about in these cases is and I just found out because I was wondering this morning when we were talking about it, and I hadn't found out yet, but I just saw they did in fact have it. They had the Centegic system like we did, and one of the that you usually don't see is the SRO. There was 2 SROs in the school, and they got to him, and were able to disarm him and take him into custody, because usually either the shooter gets shot or takes their own life. And so it makes you think with that system, they were talking about local law enforcement was on scene within minutes and stuff, that, how bad it's tragic. I'm not saying it's not, but how much even worse it would have been if it was a situation, like Uvalde or something, where they didn't have that system, they didn't have that training, and, have no idea where in the building it's happening, because like we've talked about it on the show with the system we got, like once that thing's activated, it shows a layout of the school to everybody and shows where it's at. Like, we need to go to the library, or we need to go to the cafeteria, or we need to go down here. And, that to me, it seems like that almost had to have some kind of play in the fact that the SRO was able to disarm him and get him into custody alive, because it's not, I can't remember any of them. I may be wrong on that, but any of them
usually
where
the norm
the shooter
is that,
typically never survives, whether it's by their hand or law enforcement's hand. So, that, and then how many more would have fell victim without that system?
Yeah, that's true. And so it's always good to look at, it's weird to say in a situation like that, but look at the positive and be thankful for what didn't happen that maybe could have in another situation. But it's just, well, number one, it's always just depressing and disheartening and awful to hear of these stories. But then when you hear that it's a 14-year-old, I know, I know, some kids around that age. You know what I mean? Like, we've got some of our youth group at church with some of the kids. We got a few. They're around that age, and you were a father of your son is around that age.
Yeah, he just turned 15 in August. So
yeah,
so he just left 14. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's mind blowing. I mean, I know this. We've talked about it before, the mental health state of a lot of people in this country and stuff, and how it just continues to get worse, it seems like. But at the same time, I look and interact with my son every day, and he just turned 15, so I just went through a whole year of him at 14, and there was, what could get you to such a dark place that would even cross your mind, let alone, because that's the other thing, is they've came out now and said that last year, when this child was 13, evidently he was online making threats about shooting the school up, and had put up pictures of a gun and stuff, and the FBI went to his house and investigated him and evidently cleared him. He said that he didn't do it, which I don't know how the FBI wouldn't know whether he did it or not. I mean,
that seems
kind of
odd.
Forensically trace down somebody in a cave in Afghanistan, from their digital footprint.
Sure.
But then evidently the father said that he had hunting guns, but the child had no access to them. And so they were watching him. They cleared him. They said there was no probable cause they could find. And yet here we are not even a year later.
And that's what's so...
He went from threatening it to done it. Yeah.
That's what's so bizarre to me about the whole, big tech companies and the government, the FBI. People get censored off of Facebook for, if I was just to go post a picture of a gun, that I own, and, just be like, or just a video of me shooting or something like that on Facebook, target shooting or whatever. It would probably get flagged. It'd probably get taken down. It'd probably get, I may have my account deleted or something like that. Like, people have their accounts deleted for stuff like that these days. Or if we're talking about, we talked the other day about the big tech censorship during the COVID and during, the election, and how they'll take stuff down because it doesn't agree with a certain political opinion, and they'll censor people, and they're deplatform people, deplatform like major YouTube channels, and people, their livelihood. They're making their living off of that, and they lose their livelihood. They lose their money that they're making off of that because they have a certain opinion or whatever. And yet, you have a legitimate situation where somebody is actually a physical threat, clearly posting online about, possibly, and I don't know the details of what, it just other than what you just mentioned and what I heard about what he had said on social media. You have a seemingly legitimate threat, and the FBI investigated it and decided it's not a big deal, and then, Now we have this. Like, with all the technology that you've got, with all of the ability that you've got, with all of the censorship that you do, like, can we not, you know what I mean? Like, it seems to me the priorities are a little out of whack.
Yeah, because, I mean, the parents and law enforcement had their eye firmly on him for this very thing last year. And I know, and I'm all about freedom and rights, and don't tread on my, I've got a cup, don't tread on me, I'm American,
Sure.
Don't be censor me, don't be spying on me, don't be none of that, whether it's freedom of speech, 1A, 2A, all of them, but at the same time, I don't know how we are not to a point, like I knew this as a kid, even or a young adult, even before 9/11. Like, you don't go on an airplane and say bomb.
Right.
You don't go in a theater and say fire. Like, that was ingrained in my head very early. And if you did go in and on a plane and said bomb, you were treated like a terrorist, even before 9/11. It's only got worse now. Like,
and what was the nature of his post too? Like, what did he actually say? Do you know? Like, was it just bomb or fire, or was it I'm going to bomb, I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like, what was his post?
The way I understood, as they explained it, was that he had been there. They got reports that he had been online threatening to perform a school shooting and put a picture of a weapon up. Put up multiple posts. So, like, at that point, even if you're a child or a minor, in this world we live in, like, you should be treated from now on as if you were going to do it. Like, there's no excuse, there's no joke value, and oh well, I was just joking. Like, that's not something to joke about anyway. And I don't know,
Right, and I'm all for free speech and First Amendment and so on and so forth, but threatening does not. Like, threats to violence and calls to violence, calls to action do not fall into that freedom of speech category.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a break, but before we do that, let's grab a phone call. Good morning. You are first up on Edgewise.
Good morning, Alex. Good morning, Chad. It's Andy Tucker. How y'all doing?
Good. How
doing
you?
Great.
Hey, speaking as somebody who does have a business where firearms are a good portion of that business, in fact, the majority of that business, I am one who suffers from not having pictures posted or being blocked and shut down. And you're dead on, Alex. That censoring is exactly what's going on. And it really is ridiculous that they can do that, but they let this kid get away with what he got away with.
Yeah, I mean, the priorities to me are just, like, totally out of whack. Like, I'm going, I don't know. I mean, like, the big tech and the government seem more focused on censoring speech that has, an agenda that's against theirs. They're more concerned about that than they are about dealing with an actual terroristic threat.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, one more thing, and I pointed this out last night at church. We're going to blame the parents. We're going to blame, I'm sure if you dig into it, he was on some kind of meds, so we'll blame the pharmaceutical companies. We'll blame all kinds of stuff. But it's amazing to me, the liberals, they'll blame the gun, and there's all kinds of things that get blamed. It's amazing to me that we never stop and think that maybe this is God's judgment on our land, on our nation, on our people for having neglected and turned from Him.
Well, God's judgment, but also I would say, the byproduct of just a fallen world where we have a very real spiritual enemy out there. and
Well, sure.
we're fighting a very real spiritual battle. And of course, I do think God allows things to happen like this because we have free will and because we live in a fallen world. I think it's more of a spiritual warfare sort of, which I think.
I can agree with you, and that it almost sounds like we're saying the same things. In Amos chapter 3, which is where we were last night in the Minor Prophets, God says, I let all these things happen to you in order that you would turn to me, and you didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we're fighting. I mean, I've said it before tons of times on this show. It's been said, we're fighting a battle. It's not flesh and blood. The Bible talks about it. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities. We're fighting a spiritual war, and there's spiritual implication to that. Until we get our moral compass straight in this country, until we turn back to God and surrender the country to Him and surrender our lives to Him, we're going to be seeing this. I mean, we live in a fallen world, and we live in a world where there's spiritual darkness and spiritual evil. People say, I don't understand what could cause somebody to get to this point. You hear that all the time. I do. It's the devil.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's the world, the flesh, and the devil.
Well, and you take in, just to kind of further cement that this is a new thing. Like, I know I'm not the only one. There's probably many people that are listening right now that can remember a time when they were in school where the high school, like, everybody had a gun rack in their pickup truck. And
nobody's as old as Chad is.
According to my son, only Methuselah. But he thinks I saw the invention of dirt. But think how many... Like, back in the day, how many shotguns and rifles were in school parking lots, and nobody ever got shot. So, kind of piggybacking off of your all's point, that what has changed? The weapon hasn't changed.
Yes, exactly.
The hearts have changed.
Yeah.
Now, well, anything can be used. Any tool can be used for good or for evil. Look at the internet, for example.
Yeah.
Look at the internet. I mean, the internet is great. I love having access. Through the power of the internet right now, we're live streaming this show. It's great for our business. It's great for, people can interact on the internet and do different things, and you can research. I've got at my fingertips, I've got information. I can pull up an encyclopedia. I've got so much through the internet. It's so great, and it can be so great. I've got a Bible app on my phone. You know what I mean? Like, I can pull up the Bible on my phone and read Scripture if I don't, if I'm in a place where I don't have, my physical Bible, which I have plenty of copies of those too. But, if I'm in a place I don't have my physical Bible with me at the time, I can pull up that, and I've got the Bible right there on my phone, the whole entire Bible, and every translation that I could ever want to, by the way. But then that same
got the Bible
thing...
and other books.
Yeah, come on. Let's not get into that. But what my point is the same.
Books.
Well, Chad's got a whole nother take on that as a Catholic. But what I'm saying is, my point is that same technology, that same thing that I can do all of those wonderful, beautiful, awesome things with, that I can connect with family or friends that are far away, that I can read the Bible, that I can do all these things on the same device, is a gateway to pornography, is a gateway to sex trafficking, is a gateway to drugs, is a gateway to all sorts of evil and bullying, and all of these horrific, horrible, despicable things. So is it the technology? Do we blame the technology? Or do we blame the people that are using it and the heart behind what's being done there?
So the technology will be blamed, but that is not the root cause.
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, as we're speaking right now, somewhere in the world, somebody has just lost everything in a terrible tragedy, and there's a GoFundMe that is lifting them up in a way that they can't imagine, where a community is coming. We've seen this all the time, and that's happening right now.
Sure.
But at the same time, somewhere in the world right now, sadly, somebody, and probably a youth, is being led to the steps of suicide because of what's happening on the internet. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's heavy, but it's like you said. It always comes back to the people. It's the heart behind it.
Yeah,
everything's a heart problem. I agree with that.
Yeah,
yeah. I can scroll through TikTok, and on the same TikTok, on the same app on my phone, I can see a video about somebody talking about scripture and quoting a Bible verse or something, and then the very next video could be something like a young underage girl, with her, butt hanging out, twerking or something, or it could be, what I mean? Like, it's just the technology can be used for good. The technology can be used for bad, and that's any technology. Our phones, the internet, what we've got, a firearm, anything. It's the heart of man that is the problem. It's a heart condition problem in our country, and it's a moral problem and a spiritual problem.
We'll go back as far as...
above all things and desperately wicked.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you can go as far back in the book as you want, and rocks have been used to build the great structures of our world. They were also the original weapon of death.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. All right, Andy.
All right, y'all. I'll let you go. I figure I take up enough of your time, but I want to let you know that I personally live that discrimination and that social media blocking that you were talking about.
Yeah. All right. We appreciate your phone call as always, my friend.
Take care.
Have a good one. We are going to have to take a commercial break. We are so past due for that. If there's anything on your mind, please feel free to give us a call today at 270-422-3961 or 270-422-3962. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a few. This is Edgewise on WMMG.
At Meade County Bank, they're local not only in their words, but in their actions. And that's how it's been for 40 years. From the Brandenburg office to the Flaherty office, the 4 branches have worked hard to serve and meet you and your unique individual needs. They've treated their customers like family, because you are. And if you're looking to join the Meade County Bank family, they'd love to meet you and talk about what they can offer. Getting started is easy, and they look forward to showing you why their customers proudly say, "That's my kind of bank." Meade County Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Tired of getting turned down for homeowners insurance because you're too far from the fire department? Give Sharon Ledford at Planters Insurance a call. Planters Insurance is a local insurance co-op formed in 1904, and they won't turn you down like those other companies. Call Sharon Ledford today at 270-547-3921 or 270-547-8467.
Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house to see a coaster that's new for the entire crew, and they call it Good Gravy.
Good Gravy, the new family roller coaster at Holiday World and Splash and Safari. Twist and turn past a gigantic rolling pin, milk bottle, and more in a race to save Thanksgiving dinner. First forwards, then backwards. It's fun with a little gravy on top. Get tickets at holidayworld.com.
Free soft drinks, free parking, free sunscreen.
To everyone making time for life's best moments, let our team member Sandy share how Culver's is serving up Celebration by the Scoop.
Our rich and creamy fresh frozen custard makes every day a little bit sweeter. Enjoying a handcrafted treat with all the ooey gooey toppings you love? Now that's worth celebrating.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a sweet treat to make every moment count. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
Culver's of Corden, Indiana. Locally owned and operated by Frank and Sarah Spanopoulos.
93.5 WMMG's Foodie Friday is when you win free food. From barbecue,
I love barbecue,
to burgers.
There was ham and there was turkey.
Ham and turkey? Why not? It's Foodie Fridays. And we've got you covered. Register online at WMMG935.com and win gift cards from local restaurants and food trucks. We'll announce a winner every Friday. This Friday, win tickets to Culver's in Corydon on Foodie Friday.
At 93.5 WMMG.
Guess who's back?
We now return to Edgewise on 93.5 WMMG. Join in on the discussion today. Give us a call at 270-422-3961 or 270-422-3962.
We're back here on Edgewise, 93.5 FM on your dial, and of course live streaming on our Facebook page as well. Had a couple people checking in on the Facebook stream this morning. Hello to Tricia and to Robert checking in the comments. If you're watching over there, drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from, or you can weigh in on our discussion today. Wanted to push this out there just on a different note. We got this hot off the presses from Judge Executive Troy Koch. There has been an open burning ban. It's hereby ordered that due to excess dryness, lack of measurable precipitation, and current fire hazard conditions, let's try that again. Pursuant to Kentucky statute, he does hereby issue no outside burn order countywide effective immediately, banning all open burning in all areas of Meade County, Kentucky. It includes the lighting of fireworks and burning of any material outdoors. So that hot off the presses on this 5th day of September 2024, a burn ban in effect. I'm hoping we can get some.
It is dry.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get some more rain here soon, so that we got. Usually, if you get some decent rain in the later part of the summer, that makes for better fall colors. You know, because sometimes when it's so dry, everything just like dies off, and you don't get really good.
Everything's starting to change quick too, especially with.
I know. I've already seen so much.
Hot last week and dry, and
Yeah, well, I guess we will. We shall see. Anything on your mind, give us a call, 422-3961 or 422-3962. We'd love to hear from you. You hate that it becomes politicized when something like this happens. I mean, it shouldn't even be politicized in the first place, but I guess it just has to be because that's the world that we live in these days. But I don't know. I mean, we've said what we've said. It's you can look for stuff to blame all day long.
No.
But at the end of the day, we got a very, very serious heart problem in this country, in terms of the condition of people's hearts, and a serious moral issue. We've got a serious we've got a serious spiritual issue. There's a lot of factors that go into this, and our culture is just so. I feel so bad for these teenagers today, that are growing up in this bizarre time that we've got.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing, because it's. And so often it gets put on the kids, but it's the adults in the room.
Yeah.
It's the adults in the room that have lost their mind. Like, there's no truth anymore. Everything's subjective. The goalposts are constantly moving. They see adults, instead of coming together, just vilifying each other and hating each other. And it's like, well, if I was a kid looking up, I'd be like, what's there to look forward to out there? Like when I was a kid, and I wish I didn't do it, but like I was in a hurry to grow up and get out in that world, and then I got out there and it's like, let me back in. But, because there were strong adults in my life that there was truth, there was, there was morals, there was stability. Like now it's like every day we wake up and it's like, how did the world shift overnight that something that we've never heard of in our life is now accepted as mainstream? Or it's
well, that's the thing too. You mentioned the subjective truth. I think that's you hit the nail right on the head there, because we live in this world where grown adults are saying, and then these young folk, the kids, the teenagers, they're being fed this notion, this idea, this concept that truth is subjective. There's no such thing as real, true, objective truth. You can have your own version of the truth. You can have your own version of what's true for you, and if it's right for me, and if it's true for me, that's fine. But it can be wrong for you and bad for you, but that's okay. But you can have your truth, and I can have my truth. They're being fed this idea, which is just complete hogwash. It's just complete baloney, and then we wonder why there's no moral compass anymore. Then we wonder why there's no regard for other human life anymore. We wonder why things are getting more and more evil. We wonder why the bullying's getting worse. We wonder why this is getting worse and that's getting worse. If I am told my entire young life that there is no such thing as real truth, right? If there's no such thing as real objective truth, and right and wrong can be different for me than it can be for you, then why would I not think that, okay, well, maybe it's okay to go out and murder a bunch of people. Maybe it's okay to go out and bully people. Maybe it's, because, I don't feel bad about it, so it must not be wrong.
Well, and just go be you.
Just go be you.
Whatever makes you happy today. And then they've chased whatever that is, and it doesn't make them any happier. Then they get depressed, because they've got this false image now of what it means to be successful or what it means to be you or me. And it's just, I could open up so many cans of worms.
Oh, we could get, I could forget about it. I could preach a message on this. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, we at a certain point, when it's all about my feelings and what feels good and whatever makes me happy in the moment, and I can have my own version of the truth so that we're not causing any friction with anybody. We don't want to be controversial. We don't want to hurt people's feelings, so we'll just let you have your version of the truth, and this person over there can have their version of the truth. Mm-hmm. Like, at a certain point, when that's the idea, then that's the narrative, everything is fair game, man. Everything is fair game. There's no such thing as morality anymore. There's no such thing as right or wrong. That's why I say to all these people that the subjective truth, so you can't tell me that it is definitively, objectively wrong for me to go down the street right now, find an old lady, and beat her over the head and take her purse. You can't tell me that that's objectively wrong.
Yeah.
It is. It's clearly objectively wrong.
Yeah.
But we can't even say objective wrong anymore because, that might offend somebody.
Well, look at the way some of them are treating pedophiles. When did it become acceptable that they have feelings? For the history of humanity, that has been looked at as one of the ultimate no's. Terrible. Unrehabilitatable. Now they're like, well, we can't call them pedophiles anymore. They're minor attracted people. No. They are a pedophile. They're a pedophile. They need to be dealt with and taken away from any child. That's killing a kid in a way that it doesn't take their life, but it kills their soul. And we're saying now they can't help it. So they should just be accepted in society as anybody else? No. I've got a few ideas of what they deserve, but I'm not going to say it over the radio. I think y'all can.
I don't know. I'm so sick of people's feelings.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like, people are going to think, oh, I'm being so harsh by saying that. And it's not that I don't care about people's feelings. I care about people's feelings, and I think we should be compassionate, and I think we should be loving, and I think we should be kind. As a Christian, it's part of my faith to try to be as compassionate and loving and kind and patient with people as I possibly can. I fail miserably at it a lot of the time, but I want to try to be as much like Jesus Christ as I can. But Jesus Christ, we got to remember, is not, always Barney the dinosaur, all right?
Yeah.
He's not always Barney the dinosaur, and he's not always people want to paint Jesus and put him into their own category and say he's either Barney the dinosaur or he's like the picture poster boy of the Republican Party or something. No, he's neither one of those. Jesus, if you look at his words in Scripture, he was harsh when he needed to be harsh. He was laying out the truth when he needed to lay out the truth, but he was also gentle and kind and forgiving and loving and patient when the situation called for that as well.
Yeah.
And so we got to get rid of this idea that the only thing that matters is our feelings. Look, sometimes the truth is offensive, okay? Sometimes the truth is going to hurt your feelings, but it's going to be better for you in the long run. If you've got a drug addict or sorry, I'm filibustering here. I'll shut up in a minute. But seriously, I'm passionate about this, man. This just gets me. If you've got a drug addict or an alcoholic or something in your family and you're sitting there watching them kill themselves, you tell them the truth. You tell them, hey, you need to stop this. You need to get better. You need to get help. You don't tell them that because you hate them and you don't care about their feelings. You tell them that because you care more about them than you do about their feelings. It may hurt their feelings in the short term to hear the truth, but it's going to help them in the long run. I'm done.
Well, it's why we all know what tough love means, or we at least used to. But I remember as a kid, there was a lot of times, when you're finding your way, and it's like, maybe Dad doesn't love me. And then you get some maturity behind you, and it was like, no, that was the ultimate sign of love. He was teaching me how to be a young man, and, you know, not giving me a hug when I did wrong. He was giving me the rod, you know.
Yeah.
The leather belt, and you know, and no, my dad did not beat me. He really fell short on it, to be honest, because I was owed about 10 times what I got. I guess was slick, or he didn't want to deal with it that day. I don't know. But what I'm getting at was, he gave me that tough love. He didn't say, "Oh, well, it's all right, Chad. I know you meant to do better, but you really screwed up. But we're just going to let that slide and don't let it happen again." Like, sometimes it was like, "No, you need a little bit stiffer consequence," and it was always equal to what I deserved. You know, I never got anything I didn't deserve. But that's tough love, and that's like, and I see it so much today. It's like, oh, they're my best friend and all this, and it's like, fine to love your kid, but your kid is not your best friend.
Yeah, and there's also a difference between
you're the parent. You don't get to be the best friend. Like, you can have a friendly relationship, but like, I see some of these, and like, the kid has more authority than the parent does, and it's like, we've got that backwards. You know, like, you can love your kid. You like, hopefully you have a great friendly relationship where it looks very similar to any other friendship you would have.
Yeah.
But you've also got to, like, the parent is the parent. Like, you've got to give the tough love too. You can't just give the, oh, we're best friends love.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think primarily it's the father. You know, we talked the other day, and boy, we're gonna get heat over saying this toxic masculinity, you know, whatever, and gender roles and this and that and the other thing. But I mean, I think, you know, primarily that's a huge chunk of the father's role right there too, is to be that stern voice when needed, to be soft also when necessary. That's important too. There's a balance. You know, I saw somebody the other day, a video clip talking about this, and I thought it was really good. You know, he was talking about discipline in children and so on and so forth, and like, there's a difference between a mistake and versus like actually doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you don't want to necessarily punish your children for a mistake. Like, if they're washing the dishes and they accidentally break a glass, you don't beat them. You know, you might be angry, you might be upset, but you don't discipline them for accidentally breaking a glass while they're washing the dishes.
If they almost burned down the house on purpose, it's a different story.
Yes. If they're running around with you know, matches in their hand and gasoline and running in the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference in these situations. But the fact of the matter is, you know, we've just lost in society in general. It's not just with children. It's not just, you know, it's just in society in general. We've lost the ability to tell people they're wrong.
Yeah.
And to tell people the truth.
Because if you do, then you're a bigot or a racist or a xenophobe
or a phobe this or a phobe that, whatever.
Yeah.
Insert label here.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a commercial break.
Dirty white boy.
I'm going to have to take some blood pressure medicine. And we are going to be back in just a few. This is Edgewise on WMMG.
Are you looking for a little slice of heaven to plant your flag and call home? Or maybe you have some property you're looking to sell? Well, go check out my friends at Kentucky Land Company of Irvington. Whether you're looking for a small lot close to town or a small farm out in the country, they have property in 12 counties to meet your needs. They also offer easy, no-credit check owner financing. Kentucky Land Company of Irvington is here 7 days a week to meet your property needs. Go check them out today at ky-land.com or give them a call at 547-4222.
So many things in life are unpredictable, but your insurance rates shouldn't be. If you're tired of your insurance rates going up and down like a yo-yo, give Planners Insurance a call. Planners is a local insurance co-op formed in 1904. They haven't had a rate increase in years, and they have no plans to increase rates anytime soon. Call Sharon Ledford today at 270-547-3921 or 270-547-8467.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Guess who's back?
We now return to Edgewise on 93.5 WMMG. Join in on the discussion today. Give us a call at 270-422-3961 or 270-422-3962.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's Edgewise. Give us a call. Hit us up on Facebook with a comment if you want to weigh in on anything today. I feel like I've been filibustering. I apologize. I'll just sit over here and be quiet for this segment.
I was doing it yesterday. I was like on my rant about taxation.
There's just certain things that really, well, we've all got things that get us upset and just really get us going. And you know, this is one of those for me. When we start talking about the moral decline and you know, the spiritual problems that we're seeing in this world, and really just truth, like it just disturbs me. I've talked about this at such great length. It just disturbs me that we've got this loose concept of truth in our world today.
Yeah.
Like you know, no, we need to be able to learn again to differentiate between opinion versus truth.
Yeah.
Opinion versus truth. Like it may be my opinion that Let Me Get a Bite food truck has the best macaroni and cheese in the world. Okay, I think it's a pretty good opinion. I believe pretty strongly about that opinion. But it's my opinion. Somebody else may have a different taste bud, and they may have a different opinion as to who has the best macaroni and cheese. Okay. By the way, I think they're at Race 40 again today. If you want to go see them, I'm just saying though. But no, like that's my opinion. Okay, it's my opinion that like Mexican food is the greatest. Like Mexican food, right? It's not my opinion that the sky is blue.
Yeah.
You can't say that the sky is a different color or something, and you be right for you and I be right for me. That's not how facts work.
Yeah, 2 + 2 will always be 4.
Yes, it's just not how reality works. But this is, you know, and I use extreme examples here, but this is what we've turned into in our culture, in our society, and it's offensive if you try to say, no, like, there's actual truth here.
Yeah.
You know? You can't just be whatever you want to be. You can't just think something and feel something, and therefore it becomes reality.
Well, I'm going to the bank here in a little bit, and I am going to identify as a millionaire whether they let me or not.
I wish.
And there better not be any law enforcement involved, because by golly, this is my truth.
See, now, people are going to think I'm being way too extreme. But what is that, like, where does law and order come in? Law and order has to come in with objective truth. We're saying this is wrong, and therefore we're making a law against it. So who is to say that it's wrong? If we're in this subjective truth realm now, and your truth and my truth and whoever else can have their whole version of a truth, like, who is to say that robbing a bank is wrong?
Yeah.
Now, I am saying, just to be clear, just so we're all clear here, just so we are all on the same page, I am saying that robbing a bank is wrong. I believe that it is objectively wrong. But what I'm saying is...
But I want to be a millionaire today, Alex.
I know, I want to identify... But
what about my feelings?
That's the thing. Like, I identify as a millionaire, and so therefore I'm going to go and make that... You know what I mean? Like, who is to say... If there's no objective truth, if we don't have a standard for anything, who is to say it's just my opinion versus your opinion that it is or isn't wrong to rob a bank?
Yeah.
Just an opinion, right?
Yeah.
If there's no morals, if there's no objective truth, if there's no standard by which we go, well, it's just an opinion, right? I don't know. We got to. I gotta calm down again. We got to take a couple of phone calls here. Good morning. You're up next on Edgewise.
The reason I called, y'all talking about the FBI over that school shooting, investigating it. Actually, never was nothing to it, but now here they, almost election time, are starting this Russian interference with election. They done so they can go all the way overseas and I guess figure out that, well, they're handling in our elections, but they can't figure out this other stuff. It just, I'm like you, it just don't make sense.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
All right.
Well, we're going to see where it goes, but anyway, you guys have a good one.
All right,
Thank you so
well.
much for the call.
Appreciate the phone call, my friend. Let's grab another one here, and good morning. You're up next on Edgewise.
Yes. Talking about the truth and all of that. And there is truth and there is laws to protect the truth and the innocent and all of that. But what good does it do to arrest somebody and lock them up and a lawyer and a judge get together and say, well, let's go ahead and collect some money from them and we'll just turn them loose, give them a probation of 3 months, and then they're out doing it again. There's no consequences for the things that happen, and that's the problem. There's no consequence. If you do something wrong, there's no justice or consequence or no punishment for it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
all right.
Totally
agree. Call.
Yeah. Thank you. And that's so true because what you see it like a lot of these really blue states, like out in California, like he's talking about, they changed the law because it's bad to put a thief in jail. So as long as you rob, Trump's been making fun of it, but I mean it's the way it is. He's like these robbers out there are running around with a calculator in the store, like, oh, I ain't got it up to 950 yet, so I'm still safe from being prosecuted. And it's like even the laws we don't uphold anymore. And I've been big on this for a while. He hit the nail on the head. Law enforcement gets a lot of grief over this, but it's not their fault. All they can do is enforce the laws on the book and bring them in. And then it's up to the prosecutors and the judges. And like we pay so much attention to who's running for governor or who's running for president, but nobody ever pays attention to who's running for Commonwealth attorney or who's running for a local judge or a state-appointed judge. And like you see that, and some of these states are really bad about it. Like they'll just come out and say once they get in as the attorney general or the prosecutor, we're not going to prosecute that because it's this or it's that. And it's like, no. And then the other side of it is the legislator needs to do its job, because I hear that hear from some of them on a more local level is a lot of times these it gets a soft sentence, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not the judge's fault because the law will only let them give them a slap on the wrist or something. So the whole system needs to be fixed on the front side from the legislative and on the back side with the judges and prosecutors and tough on crime, because I'm all about, Lord knows I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for second chances and, changing your ways and repenting and going a different direction than you started off. So I'm all for anybody getting a fair shake. But at the same time, it's like the caller said, there has to be consequences, because if it wasn't for those consequences, I probably wouldn't have changed my way.
Yes, exactly. That's
what I was
going to say. Yes,
skillet to the face and like, Chad, ding.
Yes.
You really want to keep
Yes.
doing this. That hurts you, I
Yes.
know, but it's going to hurt you a lot worse if you don't change.
Yes, you've got to have some sort of consequences for your actions, or there's never going to be any change. Because if I don't have to face consequences for what I'm doing, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And if it's just a slap on the wrist and I turn around and I'm back out there again, no, part of the rehabilitation process is seeing that you have to face the consequences for your actions, seeing that you're going to have to pay the price, and then that helps and that aids with the rehabilitation process. Oh my gosh, I really messed up. I really screwed up. I've got to pay this price now, and so I want to try to become a different person now. And some people do, some people don't. But, those who do will say, look, I'm facing the consequences for my action now. I understand that I deserve this, and so therefore I'm going to try to do my best to be a better person and to anyway.
Yeah. Well, like the sheriff's office, Sheriff Wimpy and his deputies and stuff, they've got a great program over there. It doesn't get enough attention. And, he's all about law and order. But they teamed up with an outfit and for drug addicts or any kind of addict. And, like, when they go in and bust somebody, if that person truly shows that they're wanting to change but they can't change, like, they will tell them, we're taking you in. You're going to have to pay, your time to society. But when you get done with that, the day you check out of that jail, we will come pick you up. Even if you don't got a ride, we'll put you in this program and we will get you the help if you're honest about wanting to change. And they've had some great success with this. Really turned some people's lives around, like where kids have been taken away from CPS and everything else. The people had to pay their time because they were picked up for a crime. But they seemed really genuine about wanting help and change. And the sheriff's office at the same time was, laying down the law with them and bringing them in to pay the penalty, was also had the compassion on the backside that if you want help, we want to help you get that help. And,
yeah.
And that's the way it should be healthy, whether I'm a parent or it's law. That's the way I've got to be as a parent. Like, I love you, buddy, but you really screwed up bad right now. So instead of, we don't get to be best friends. We're going to have to be dad and your son, and there's going to be consequences.
Yeah. Because people say addiction, like addiction is a disease and the people can't help it. Well, I think yes, but it's a self-inflicted disease also because it's the consequence of your actions. Now, do people
you don't get a free pass for? Well, I was under the influence. Like still did it,
right? No, exactly. And but do people wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I want to be an addict. I want to be addicted to this substance. I want this substance to absolutely control and dictate my life." No, nobody wakes up and says that. But we know that there's consequences to these things. We know that these things are bad. We know that these things have bad effects on our body and on our health. We know these things, and so we do that. We take the risk anyway, and you drink the drink, or you consume the substance, the pills, or the smoking, or the whatever it is, and then you're reaping the consequences of your actions. So addiction, it spirals out of control, and yes, they can't control it, and yes, there's a lot of times where people want to get free, they want to get clean, but they can't. But it's also a self-inflicted. You're reaping the consequences of that initial action. That's why the Bible says wine is a mocker. Because nobody says, oh, I want to be addicted or I want to be an alcoholic the rest of my life. But it's enticing, and it's like, oh, I'll just have a drink, and then a drink turns into another drink, and a drink turns into another drink, and another one, and another one. And, then before you know it, it spirals out of control, and you're, living a life you never thought you would have lived.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is that you still have to pay the time for the crime, regardless of what state case in point, right now they're starting the jury selection for Hunter Biden's tax evasion. I think it's out in California, and like his defense is going to be, well, he was all messed up. He was such a filthy crack addict that he wasn't in the right state of mind to pay his taxes for 10 years. And it's like, no. Like, yeah, you need help, and that's terrible that you got in that place, but you broke the law for 10 years.
Yeah, and we will let that be the closing comment for today because we have got to wrap this up. Thank you guys for tuning in, hanging out with us, putting up with us. See you tomorrow. Love you guys. God bless you.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm Les Cook with a montage of the artists we'll be talking about.